this is the first year that really we're being able to get significant parts of the public interested in election integrity, because it's been too painful for Americans to recognize that there are people regularly trying to steal their elections and regularly hacking into them.
You can see over and over again where, the shift is all going in one way, which indicates someone's cheating, right? If it was some sort of random error, you would expect the cheating to go in both directions, right? You'd expect Bernie, to have the one and Hillary to have one. And if things are going bad and there's 12 of them, you'd expect 6 and 6 or 5 and 7. This is what we used to call the red shift, which usually only occurred for the Bush family when they're, literally, first time George Herbert Walker Bush running in 88 and 92, and then with George W. Bush in 2000 and 2004. What used to be the red shift has emerged as the Clinton shift. And I can't tell you, we have no proof Clinton's doing it. Okay, there you go. So in that scenario. But there's a variety of things that can be done in these situations. Number one, right, the whole notion of video the vote. And of course, all of you need to be outside the polls or inside the polls as poll workers. Somebody told me they were going to be a poll worker. How many in here are going to be poll workers? You need to make sure you hang on to the manual. You also need to know where the number is for the Bernie people so you can call them. The Ohio vote in 2012 was saved by people in the Bay Area. Richard Tam and his group essentially watched our computers in Columbus, Ohio, and took screenshots, and we found that the computers went down in Cleveland and in, again, Warren County, because people in the Bay Area called us up and said, and we had flying squads, literally lawyers, people with cameras, tweeters, running in and asking officials, why is the computer down? Because usually the computer goes down before it comes back up with funny numbers. Right? So a variety of that can be done in the process. And not only that, Cliff is going to be tell you about a lawsuit that we intend to file prior to this election.
Bob and I have been in state and federal court over this problem since 2004. And most of the time since 2004 we've been in federal court or state court. In 2012 we were in both federal and state court at the same time on election day. And we had one of the top witnesses, top experts from the National Security Agency as our expert witness on this problem that was described on Fox News about these illegal patches being on the computers. And we put the spotlight on it, and in the courtroom on election day, the judge said, if there's a problem with the numbers, if the numbers look funny, you come back in to the courthouse and we'll talk about who pays for the audit. Because what we said is, because the patches are already attached, the only way to catch the fraud is by doing an audit. And because these perpetrators of this fraud, calling this an experimental patch that they put on 30% of the county tabulators, is to have them pay for the audit, not the citizens. Them pay for the audit.
Wait, why on earth would they approve an experimental patch?
Well, an experimental under a law, you're allowed one experimental patch in one precinct. They were going to put it in 44 counties. They got it on 30 counties before a Republican member of the Secretary of State's office contacted me and blew the whistle.
All right. So on election night, I mean, what happened in the courtroom happened in the courtroom. We were keeping the FBI informed every step of the way. And election night, the FBI was in the Secretary of State's office. All right, the FBI probably also had wiretaps.
2012?
2012. All right, so on election night, Karl Rove is on Fox News. They call the election in Ohio for Obama, and Karl Rove says, wait a minute, all the votes aren't in yet. It's premature. And he basically goes into a fight with the Fox News people. And their experts come out and say, no, Carl, we looked at it, the numbers.
Well, I have great respect for our decision desk, and I see that they're very happy in Chicago, but I've got to tell you, the Romney camp has real doubts about the call that's been made by us and I guess other networks about Ohio. They do not believe that Ohio is in the Obama camp. I just got an email from a top Romney person. I said, do you agree with our call? Carl was just on the phone with somebody else, and you got some more recent figures.
Well, here it is. The Secretary of the networks, our network called on the basis of about 74% of the vote being in. The Secretary of State website has 77.49% of the vote in, and it shows 2,229,000
votes.
When it was at 74%, it was 20-some-odd thousand votes. Now, with 77% of the vote in, it is 900. We now are starting to see the suburbs start coming in.
You're just saying he hasn't won it yet.
I think this is premature. We got 70. We got a quarter of the vote. Now remember, here's the thing about Ohio.
Carl?
A third of the vote. Apparently, the website is now being crashed because they can no longer refresh it. But look, I don't know what the outcome is going to be. But we got to be careful about calling things when we have like 991.
Here's what we're going to do. Karl
Rove
said that we should figure out what the deal is with this decision desk. The decision desk is in a different place. Megan, I will escort you down the steps here so you can go interview them.
All right.
Watch your step.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't want to fall
there you go.
in front of all these millions of people.
Okay. Megan is going to go to the decision desk.
It's just not going to make it.
Is this possibly an exit poll thing like we saw in, I mean, I know this is raw vote, but is this, the exit polls were so wrong in 2004 and they were saying there's no way that George Bush can overcome it, no way, no way, no way, and then he did. Is this similar to that?
What we're looking at is actual raw vote by county, city by city, and what we're seeing is sufficient vote in Ohio on the Democratic side to mean that Ohio will go for Obama.
Percent certainty.
99.95%.
Okay. All right, well, there you have it.
It's written up in Washington Spectator that no one told Carl that the fix was off because the scrutiny was on. When I talk about a lawsuit, this is not a fiction. I'm talking about we have been doing this, and we are doing it now. And we are filing a lawsuit which will put the spotlight on these exit polls. We announced we were going to file such a lawsuit to compel the news media to report the actual exit poll results so that the public would know if there's apparent fraud. And guess what the media did? They canceled the exit poll. You're going to sue us to make us make it public, or we just won't do it. And that's why Lori and Bob are organizing a citizen exit poll. But we're also going to file a lawsuit. And the lawsuit is going to demand that all of the exit polls, 24 exit polls showing the fraud, now be public, that be published. That they stop suppressing the evidence of crime. All right. Secondly, we have the guy who was investigating the fraud in the 2004 Ohio election, who documented it in a book this thick, not only with precinct voting data, but actual ballots, a DVD of the actual ballots that were manipulated. He has been investigating all of these primaries. We have identified which precincts in this country the fraud has occurred. And we will be going into court with a demand to inspect the ballots. We will digitally photograph the ballots, and then we will have ballots. We can count them. We can do it publicly. Everybody can observe or participate. You want to recount them yourself to check it? We'll have them. The fix is on. They've done it. They've done it. They've stolen again. They're serial vote thieves. And we've got the evidence. We've got the know-how. We've got the experts. We've got the mechanism of courts that understand the problem, and we're going after it. We're going to be filing a racketeering lawsuit
RICO.
Under the Ohio racketeering law, it's the strongest in the country, and we can bring in every state. Our RICO statute is coextensive with the federal RICO statute, but it's much more aggressive in allowing us to go back in time, and it's a much stronger RICO statute. So they're nailed.
Wow.
It's obvious. It's just like Bernie Sanders when he talks about the system is rigged. The elections are rigged. The evidence is clear. Everybody's going to see it, and the game is over. Bernie has won, in fact, and he will win officially before the Republican convention. Yes, sir.
You've seen the clip of on Election Day, as soon as they're able to report the results, they're going to say that Hillary Clinton has enough delegates, she's done, stop counting, it's all over, and everything is for naught. Is there a way that we could stop that? I'm sorry if I've gotten too far away from your question.
People can say anything they want, but the facts are facts, and the facts are coming out, and there's no way the Democratic convention is going to nominate somebody on the basis of obviously stolen votes. And that the facts are coming out, and that's the fact.
My apologies. Let me restate what I said.
Go ahead.
The media will create a fait accompli. Will try to create a fait accompli. And the question is, how do you
We are suing the media as being complicit in the crime. They are acting as accessories after the fact. They are covering up evidence of criminal activity. It's a crime.
It's going to lay out exactly what happened, and you're going to have some of the best mathematicians and some of the leading academics
and maybe
saying under oath that this is election tampering. I mean, so that the complaint itself will carry the history of exactly what happened to Bernie Sanders in this campaign.
And it's not just these exit polls, it's this precinct data, where we are going to be able to say where the votes were stolen. And it's in the African American, Latino, predominantly districts in urban
and university
locations.
And the university.
That's where, and we're going to be going for the ballots. We're going to be digitally photographing the ballots. This is no longer all the hiding is over. We're going to be in court. We're going to have discovery, and it's all coming out.
I think you're going to be able to get some form of injunctive relief in time to impact the election?
Yes. The theory of injunctive relief is this. Every day that you or I cover up a crime is a crime. And we will seek an injunction against the continuing cover-up of this information, this data. And so yes, we're going to file for discovery under the civil rules. We will file for discovery, which has to be produced within 28 or 30 days, depending upon which court we're in. But we're also going to seek injunctive relief, and we're going to argue that for the public to remain in the dark during this critical period, for example, when the California, the biggest state in terms of votes, is voting, for them to be denied the knowledge of all this criminal activity that's been going on in every election up to this time is outrageous, and it creates irreparable harm. The public has a need to know today.
Ohio voting machines. Already there are major concerns that the electronic voting machines here, as well as an electronic software patch that's been placed on voting machines in the northern part of the state by Secretary of State John Husted. It's a very big story here. These software patches are only the beginning, though, of the questions surrounding Ohio's voting machines. 2012 could be the most unique presidential election in history in at least one respect. How many times in history has one of the candidates for president actually been connected to the company that owns the voting machines? Here's the backstory.